I've got a few comments about PlayStation's margins. I said in my last video that 7% was, even though it was decent, it just wasn't safe. The cushion is kind of weird, especially seeing how they actually make a lot more in revenue than their counterparts, Xbox and Nintendo. Dark Drifter, shout out to you. You said 7% margin is pretty decent. Most businesses, especially retail, operate on 3% margin. So I don't know what your point is. Xbox is desperate, Sony is not. Now, I gotta tell you, I wish I could take your word for it in terms of desperate, but the last time I heard anything from inside of PlayStation, it didn't seem like they were not desperate. The last time they took action in terms of major events within their company seemed like a lot of executive shifts and leadership changes. The last time they spent a lot of money, they bought what Colin Moriarty called a lemon, which was Bungie, to try to respond to the acquisition of Activision. I've never said that PlayStation was desperate, but the moves that they've made, including canceling or at least commissioning multiple live service games and then canceling some of them, those seem desperate than anything else. But it with a 7% margin in terms of what they're operating on, I strongly believe that you might be projecting to Xbox. What's actually funny is this is actually not the first comment about desperate that I've seen on the comment feed today. Weird. I saw another one. The person said, and this was in a different video where I said that Xbox made a chess move. What chess move did they make? They acquired PlayStation's Golden Goose. This person said there's no chess move, bruh. They are desperate. What were you told by Microsoft last year about 2027? I don't know. I told them. I said, I don't know. They said, well, you don't know. I said, I don't know. Tell me. They have not told me. So the talk about desperation, I'm not there yet. But I'm seeing some folk on the PlayStation side throw desperation out there. Now, why would Xbox have been desperate when PlayStation was basically making moves to try to kick them out of the business, and they knew that they could respond in a much more critical way? I mean, think about it. PlayStation tries to money hat 3 games in a row from Bethesda, and it triggers a buyout of the entire company. $7 billion. Remember? They money hatted Ghostwire Tokyo. They money hatted Deathloop. And the moment they tried to money hat Starfield, it was over. Bethesda then belonged to PlayStation overnight. So to Xbox overnight. Why would Xbox be desperate? They basically made a critical play that they could comfortably make. Then Activision Blizzard King was looking for someone to acquire their company. Xbox took advantage of it, and they bought basically the most critical game publisher on PlayStation's platform ever, and changed their entire financial position and flipped it around. I mean, I even did a chart that shows exactly where they are and where they were. So remember, if you go back and look at the Activision trial, you'll remember that there was a report that came out when they were asking questions that Activision threatened to actually take away Call of Duty from Xbox. Oh, yes. And Xbox had to pretty much go ahead and, Xbox had to go ahead and pretty much, succumb to Activision's own, bidding. Look at it right here. There's an AI overview that says in 2023, Xbox's VP Sarah Bond testified that Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick threatened to keep Call of Duty off Xbox. Kotick Kotick left Activision Blizzard at the end of 2023 and blah, 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 blah. So when they looked and saw the opportunity that this company that basically made us kowtow pretty much is now looking for someone to acquire, they went ahead and acquired it. And do you know who ran around the whole world trying to make sure that that acquisition was not a thing? If we're talking about desperation, I don't think you can call Xbox desperate. You can say they've made some real heavy moves to basically level the playing field. But once they announced that they wanted to go ahead and acquire Activision, man, what we saw PlayStation start doing, I don't think you can talk about maybe this company made some of the best decisions. I mean, just Bungie alone has basically been almost restructured and gutted, and all that nonsense talk about Bungie wanted this and that is out the window. That company is now a skeleton of what it actually was pretending to be in the first place. We found out that the company, for the most part, has some of the most interesting managers out there. Apparently, these folk don't really know how to actually write a good budget and stick with it and keep their teams profitable. PlayStation had to step in and take majority of their team members to integrate them into PlayStation's own development pipelines. So again, let's not use the word desperate. We can go ahead and say, okay, 7%, whether or not is good or bad, whether or not is actually solid, it's just not there compared to their counterparts. I mean, sure, some businesses operate on 3%, but Nintendo doesn't. Nintendo operates on almost 4x what PlayStation is coming home with. So the next time I hear another person say, but Nintendo, but Nintendo, well, y'all are not Nintendo, and I've been trying to tell you all this while that Nintendo is a whole different, beast on its own. So yes, I can understand maybe 7% margin might sound good for retail. But again, you said this, especially retail. PlayStation is not retail. PlayStation is a software company and a hardware company and an entertainment company. I said PlayStation, sorry. Sony is a hardware, entertainment and all, and PlayStation is a software and by, different stretches, hardware company at the end of the day, right? So if they're putting all of this effort and all this investment into the market, I'm almost certain that they probably would like to see more in terms of their margin come from it. Unless, of course, you're speaking as an armchair executive who thinks that 7% is pretty decent. Well, if 7% was pretty decent, I wouldn't be seeing their games on PC if it was pretty decent. You know what I mean? Because, again, the reason they're even at this 7% is simply because PC was a driver to get them there. So if they did not move to PC and shift their market away from what you perceive it to be, it would more than likely have been, somewhat lower. So it's not decent. Their actions speak louder than your words. I just wanted to go ahead and point that out because, again, you just see this stuff and you have to say, well, I guess. So thanks for watching the video anyways. I appreciate you all so much. Peace out.